Hi, this is Mike Forsyth here. I just got back from regionals in Dubuque, Iowa. Got 10th place out of 160 or so with Spright, Spright Adventure. So let's get into the deck profile. So first off, you got your Spright engine. The only thing that's not standard is I only play one red and I play the Pixies. I actually never really used the Pixies, but that's not to say I wouldn't play it. It dissuades people from going into, or battle phase just to swing over Toad. Sometimes I would use Spright Elf to get it back to hand with via blue, or search it via blue, so then they couldn't swing over when they attempt to enter battle phase. Yeah, pretty standard. Then you got the Frog engine. Pretty standard, but the thing is, this has extra utility because I am playing the Brave engine. So what happens is you'll draw Swat Frog and the Aqua Enchantress, and you can discard the Aqua Enchantress to use Frog, so you can get your Frog set up into the Totally Awesome a little earlier in your combo, maybe even before you make the Gigantic, so that they can't stop you. I play the whole Brave engine. A lot of people don't like playing the Brave engine, but I think it's honestly worth it. It gives you outs to stuff like Mystic Mine, Floodgates. It gives you a little bit more oomph in your deck. You're able to OTK better, you're able to break boards a lot better thanks to this card. And even if you just draw one Spright and you're not able to do your full Spright combo, you can still do a large portion of the Spright combo with just one Spright and your Brave token. By going Elf, summoning it back, and then overlaying the Elf and the level 2 into Gigantic. So, you know, it's got a lot of versatility, a lot of utility, pushing for damage and stuff. I feel like it's worth it. And I don't think Diva's necessary or any of that on summon combo starters. I decided to play Plague instead. Now, Plague is a starter too for your full Spright combo. All you have to do is go Amirage on top of the Plague, summon the Plague back, go into Halki, and then summon another Plague from deck, and that's full combo from there. So I felt that was really good. It's also really good because you can discard it for your adventure cards, and by doing that you're able to have another extender, and you can even put the equip card back on your deck with Plague, and then search it again when you summon, to give you free Plague Spreader summons versus having to actually use a card to summon it back. Onto the spells, obviously I played Starter and one Smasher. Smasher's really good. I always ended my boards with one Smasher just in case they had the Dark Ruler. If you're not, you're doing it wrong. Alright, now I didn't play any hand traps. Instead, I decided to max out on board breakers. Imperm, well, I do play Imperm, which is hand trap, but I think this is the best hand trap. It gets around Spright Red. You know, you only really need to hit Gigantic Spright in the mirror match to stop them. And also you can use it on your own turn to help you break boards, versus the other hand traps, which don't really help you break boards. Dark Ruler, I feel, is a staple right now. So I do play all these Ghost second cards, but I still chose to go first every game, because if I go first and make my board, it doesn't matter if I bricked like a couple of these, because my full board has 3 Omni Negates and 2 more interruptions. It's quite powerful. And of course I played Call By. Best card, very good against Spright and Tier. For the extra deck, I played the one Amirage for Swat Frog combo and for the Plague Spreader combo. I played 2 Gigantic, 2 Elf. People played 3 Elves, never came up for me. Instead of the 3rd Elf, I guess you could say I was playing Dehark. But I never summoned this card either. I felt like it would come up, but it never did. 9 times out of 10, I would just make the 2nd Elf instead. 1 Toad. 1 Gym Buster. Now this was particularly nice, because if I opened Plague Spreader and 1 Spright name, I would be able to make this before I go into the Gigantic Spright, so they wouldn't be able to hand trap my Gigantic Spright. So a lot of times I would make this and have my Wandering Griffin Rider on the field before even making Gigantic, so they would have to have 3 hand traps to actually stop my Gigantic, which is very rare if they drew 3 hand traps. That's the part of the reason I don't feel like hand traps are very good. I played the full Zeus combo. I never used these two cards at all, but I did use this card quite often to bounce tier cards and stuff that have grave effects, so they wouldn't be able to trigger those grave effects. Very good card. Definitely want to play this one. I played one IP, never summoned it, but I thought it would be nice to, just in case they stopped my main Gigantic Spright combo, I could make an IP so I still have an interruption in the form of Nightmare Unicorn. Access code, I made this once, definitely want to have this as an option for after you go first, you make your board, your follow-up is access code, break their board, whatever they might have done, swing for game. One Halki. Halki's really good because you get to loop into play a whole bunch of Plague Spreaders. You get 2 Plague Spreaders into play, so you get extra rank 2 or link 2 without using your Gigantic Spright yet. A lot of times Spright loses because your normal summon gets stopped and you don't have a starter. Plague Spreader really helps with that. So that you still have another level 2 you can summon, especially a Spright from hand in full combo. That's it for the extra. I got those tokens. Side deck. Since I was maining decking, all these go second cards. A lot of my side deck could be focused on when I go first. If I go first against pretty much any deck, I sided in these 6 cards. For obvious reasons, stop Dark Ruler, stop Dark Ruler. My full board's so strong, if they don't have Dark Ruler, they aren't going to get over it. So these cards were always clutch, always good. 3 evenly matched to help break boards. I sided this in against everything, even Spright, because if I have this plus Droplets or Dark Ruler, the whole board's gone. Very good. I played only 2 D barriers, mostly for a space issue. I would have played 3rd if I could. This is just good against everything. Tier. I didn't really side it in against Spright. I like the versatility of the Imperm, which would be the card I would have sided out for it. 1 Red Reboot. You gotta play it. 1 Harpy's Feather. This is all just your back row hate. I also sided this in against certain decks. Like if I noticed my opponent was siding into Floodgates or playing Floodgates, even like tier decks, I would consider siding this in. Against Rika, I played against an Eldritch player and a Dynamorphia, so these cards were very good during those matchups. Yep.
Anything else you have to say?
Well, I had a good time at the regional. I played a lot of meta decks, a bunch of Spright, tier, and my deck performed honestly perfectly. It did everything I wanted. Would I make any changes? Maybe the extra deck. I pointed out those cards that I never actually summoned. I might change those cards around for something else. I don't know what. Honestly, they might just be free spots, just for whatever's going on in the meta. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.